Kym's couch. This is my couch. These are my literal couches. That's not my literal couch, but this is my cute pink rug. Do you like it? It's very cool. Now, if you know anything about me, I love talking deep and meaningful. I love having people come over and just talk real all night, have big chats, get a big platter of food, kind of cheese and crackers out on my coffee table, and just talk about real stuff, talk about real stories and real life. Who else likes talking deep and meaningful? Anyone out there? It's not everyone by the looks. So strap in. Basically, this couch session, I've asked 3 people to come out and read a letter to their younger self out in front of you. So they're going to talk to a younger version of themselves, and they're going to read that letter out in front of you. Now, like all good stories, there are good times and bad times in real stories. Just like in movies, when we see all the good stuff and the bad stuff, these 3 people are going to share the good and the bad of their life. So there's going to be some themes in there that you might relate to or you might not relate to. But I just want to give you a heads up. There is going to be stories about bad times. There's going to be stories about life. There's going to be stories about sickness and death. There's going to be stories about trauma, about mental health, anxiety, loneliness, depression, but also stories of hope and how they got through those hard times and how Jesus spoke to them. And that's what real life is about, is messy. We have good times and we have bad times, but we know that Jesus is the light in the darkness. Amen? So we're going to ask these 3 people to come out and join me on the couch and share their stories. Are you ready to come with me? Yeah? All right, let us welcome our 3 guests, Emily, Josh, and Jess. Hello. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I just said as we walked out, I was like, I feel like I could run a marathon. Like I've got so much adrenaline in my body right now.
That is fair. How are you feeling, Emily?
I'm feeling pretty good. A little nervous, but I think that's a good thing.
Yes, we were just talking backstage about nerves tell us that we're doing something important. We're doing something that means something to us. So nerves are okay. So are we ready?
Ready.
Are you guys ready? Yeah? I might ask Emily to share first.
Dear Emily, stop suppressing it. I know it's the middle of the night. I know your mind is racing. Your chest is tight and you're staring at the ceiling, willing yourself not to feel. But you have to. You must. Because something happened yesterday, something real. And no, you weren't dreaming. You weren't just concussed, and you weren't hallucinating. You encountered something far bigger than yourself. You encountered God, and deep down, you know it. So please stop pushing it down. Stop pretending it was nothing. Stop telling yourself it's all just in your head, because it wasn't, and it isn't. You've always known you were different. That inner tug that ached to be more, not in achievement, but in truth, in being seen, in being known. Even now, I can feel the weight you carry, the invisible load of being too much, too loud, too emotional, too curious. You are always asked to tone it down, to fill it to yourself, to make others more comfortable, and in doing so, you began to disappear from your own story. So you overachieved. You performed. You created a version of yourself that was digestible, impressive, and untouchable. You filled your time with training and studying and working, juggling multiple apprenticeships in a competitive sport, Not just because you were driven, but because you were actually hiding from silence, from rejection, from stillness, from the gnawing fear that if you stopped, everything would collapse. But you can't hide anymore because yesterday, on that lake, something changed. You remember it vividly. You were water skiing, training hard for nationals. It was supposed to be just another routine day, an early morning run, an hour in the gym, then a quick water skiing session before school. And then, after school, work. Another 2 hours of the water skiing, the sport that you love, and the same demanding rhythm you follow every single day. But yesterday wasn't like the others. During your final session, something went wrong. The boat suddenly surged, and in an instant, you were thrown, slamming across the water at 108 kilometres an hour. You tumbled, rolled, skipped across the surface like a stone skimming a lake. Then you hit the water, face down, still, only metres from the shore. And in that moment, something inside you let go. You stopped fighting. You gave up. You asked in your mind, God, if you're real, save me. Not because you had faith, but because you actually didn't. Because you rejected even the thought that there could be anything out there bigger than what you can see. You asked because you needed someone to answer, and he did. You weren't face down anymore. You were on your back, gasping, alive. That moment wasn't just survival, it was sacred. You touched eternity, you tasted peace, and even though you'll try to explain it away, blame it on adrenaline, trauma, a fractured skull, you know you met someone that day, God, just yesterday, and he met you. But this isn't where it begins. It's actually, this isn't where it ends, it's actually where it begins. Because you won't tell anyone. You've always been stubborn. You won't tell anyone just how bad that crash was. You will keep training, competing, hiding 7 broken bones for the next 8 weeks before 4 smiles. You'll push through the pain until you can't, but you will need surgery, and that will force you to stop. Until the life you built around water skiing comes crashing down. I know you don't want to face what this means. I know you're terrified of change right now. You feel like everything you are is wrapped up in skiing, in being an athlete, the achiever, the one who can do it all. Without it, who are you? You're scared that if you slow down, if you stop performing, there's nothing left, just emptiness. But here's the truth. Skiing may have given you medals, but it never gave you meaning. Work may have filled your time, but it never filled your heart. Busyness may have distracted you, but it never healed you. You've been chasing love in all the wrong places, and yesterday, in that water, love finally found you. And when the noise fades and the distractions are gone, the question will rise again, how did I survive? And that question, that seed will grow into something beautiful. You'll meet a teacher who listens. You'll be invited to a youth group. It will feel awkward at first, foreign even, but you'll keep showing up, not for the music, not even for the knowledge, but because these people see through your walls. They choose to see you because it's the first time someone looks you in the eye and asks, how are you, really, and actually waits for the answer. Faith will become more than a belief, it will become a relationship, a home, and you will say yes to it, cautiously, vulnerably, but bravely. And that yes will lead to more yeses. You will start youth groups and start outreaches to schools and even get to travel to different parts of the world, seeing how incredible God truly is. But life isn't a straight path. And just when you begin to find your footing, the ground will shift again. At the age of 21, you'll sit in a doctor's office and hear the words that stop time. You have a brain aneurysm. It's inoperable, terminal. Suddenly your future, your dreams, your body will feel like a stranger. You'll have strokes, seizures, muscle and nerve loss and pain. You'll lose ability to walk and to speak and to look after yourself. You'll grieve 1,000 losses, one symptom at a time. But you won't be doing it alone. The same friends who walked with you into faith now carry you through suffering. They'll drive you to appointments and visit you at home. They'll sit by your bed, they'll pray when you can't, and they will not leave. You'll wonder why God saved you only to allow so much pain. But slowly, gently, you'll begin to see the suffering didn't take away your life. It deepened it. It anchored you to God in a way no achievement ever could. It gave you compassion, perspective, depth. It gave you your voice back, not the filtered one, the real one, the one you were born with. God will work through the doctors and the specialists, and you will be granted the gift in participating in a medical trial. It will give you the quality of life you felt you were physically lacking. You will get better, but your health will stabilise substantially, enough for you to know that there is hope and to truly feel God's mercy. You'll have a few years of stable health, and you'll feel the tug of sharing your story more and more as a witness of faith and hope. And after much internal deliberation, you'll join a Catholic organisation called Youth Mission Team. You'll pack up your life and move across the country as a full-time volunteer. You'll walk into schools and share your story with thousands of young Australians who feel just as lost, scared and unseen as you do right now. You'll sit in those classrooms, in retreat centres in silence. You'll offer not just words but hope. And in the process, something will happen. You'll start to heal. You'll live with other young people in a community, a real, beautiful community. You'll call them brothers and sisters, not because it's poetic, but because it's true. They'll see every part of you, the raw, the restless, and the redeemed, and love you fully without performance, without conditions. These are your best friends. They are with you through the amazing times, but also through the hard times. They'll teach you things and journey with you during all the seasons of your life. They do not judge, but they accept you. They do not gossip or spread rumours. Instead, they support and they encourage. These are the people in this world that you've been wanting, that you've been searching for, and you are so lucky to call them your friends. And then, a miracle. At 26, during your second year of mission, you'll go for a routine scan, expecting more bad news, expecting for this aneurysm to grow and for your life expectancy to be shut down and turned down even more. But instead, the surgeon will say that the aneurysm has shrunk and that you are no longer terminal. And this ticking clock that has been sitting over my life, over your life, will be taken away. God did it. Your third chance of life. And for the next 6 months, you will tell the world. You'll cry with strangers and laugh with friends. You'll hear testimonies that echo your own. And through it all, a new call will emerge to stay, to plant roots, to build something lasting. Youth Mission Team will offer you a paid position, working and eventually managing a Catholic retreat centre in Western Sydney. You'll say yes, and soon you'll be standing in the very place God once met you, this time as a steward of others' encounters. You'll witness miracles daily, not loud, dramatic ones, but quiet, holy ones. Hearts opening, tears falling, students and retreatants learning about their faith and even returning back to God. You'll find peace in this rhythm, not because it's easy, but because it's real. And then another unexpected storm. You'll find a lump in your breast and another battle, another surgery, 2.1 kilos worth of tissue removed, cancerous cells and a 10.5-hour operation. You'll have 9 weeks off work and fight through pain, infection and waiting. But again, because you were so in tune with your body, because you paid attention, you'll catch it early. And this time, God's mercy will come in the form of prevention. No radiation, no chemo, just healing and grace. And the deep knowing that your body, your story, your life is held in hands far greater than your own. Emily, none of this, not one chapter, is going to be easy. But every page will matter. Every scar will speak. Every breath will point to something bigger than just survival. It will point to resurrection, because you'll learn again and again that you are not too much, not too broken, not too loud, not too emotional. You are exactly enough. You don't need to earn love. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to perform to belong. You are not a mistake. You are not a burden. You are beloved. What you feel tonight, the fear, the exhaustion, the confusion, will one day become your ministry. Your story will make others feel less alone. Your voice will break through chains. Your courage will awaken faith in others. So, sweet girl, laugh loudly. Let the hiccups come. Yes, you still get the hiccups when you laugh a lot. God didn't heal you of that one. Cry when you need to. Speak even when your voice shakes. Be bold. Be soft. Be you. Because the miracle isn't just that you survived. The miracle is actually who you're becoming. With more love than you can ever imagine, your older and freer self, Emily.
You know, one thing that strikes me about your story is the amount of bad news and suffering that you've been through in such a short time. But after knowing you now for a while, you just ooze joy, even though you've been through so much. And I think we all know the end of the story, which is that, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible that says there'll be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And you are a walking, talking witness to the fruit of this pain. You could be such a sad, bitter person, but if someone said to me, explain who Emily is, it would be joy. She's always laughing. She's full of joy. And so I just want to honour you that you are shining his light. Okay, Father Josh, you ready?
Dear Josh, on the 5th of April 1995, your world fell to pieces when your 39-year-old mum died from breast cancer. You were just 14 years old and way too young to understand how watching your mother die would affect you. And I don't just mean the moment that's etched into your brain when she took her last breath, but every day over the 5 years she battled. I'm writing to you because in the 30 years since then I've learned a few things about life, and I want to tell you that you are not alone, that you are enough, that you are worthy of love, and that Jesus is real, even if you didn't think any of these things were true for a very long time. During those 5 years of sickness and battle, you already felt alone, but it wasn't anyone's fault. While mum being sick just became the norm, you discovered that if you worked hard doing jobs around the house, then you would be affirmed and experience the love of your parents. And that when you didn't, you felt an unfulfilled need for intimacy and connection. What you didn't, or perhaps couldn't understand, was that Dad was really struggling to provide for the family and had to work long hours, sometimes even when Mum was in bed, vomiting from the latest round of chemotherapy. It was during those 5 years that you began to believe, even without knowing it, that you had to look after number one so that you wouldn't be a burden on anyone else. You would be a completely independent person with no emotional need for other people in your life, because it's just easier that way, right? The thing is, Josh, it's not easier that way at all. And I'm here to let you know that you do eventually recognize your emotional need for others, and learn to let them in. I just wish I could have told you how you could have known when you were 14. When Mum died, your feelings of aloneness were compounded because at the funeral only one of your friends showed up to support you. Unfortunately, you began to believe the lie that they didn't show up for two reasons. Because you and your family were Catholic and went to Mass every Sunday and they didn't. And second, because you were not enough. Not popular enough, not tall enough, not fast enough, not smart enough, not good looking enough. You know what I'm talking about. The confusing thing is, though, this lie that you are not enough will become your primary motivation to be the best in all you'll do in your life. You're going to become school captain in a few short years. Then you'll join the army after graduating and become a top soldier and tradesman. In 2005, you'll even serve in the war in Afghanistan, and when it's safe to do so over there, use your trade skills to help build playgrounds for Afghan children who have nothing. You'll work in the mines in WA, earning the big bucks, and then travel the world, clocking up as many exciting adventures as you can. But you're also going to use this lie, this stupid lie that for some reason you must be the best to win friendship, love, intimacy, and connection. You're going to use this lie to drink the most alcohol, be friends with as many people as possible, and hook up with as many girls as you can. Eventually, though, you're going to drive everyone out of your life because you'll become too competitive and wrapped up in the other lie that you don't need them anyway. You're heading for rock bottom. In 2010, you'll leave your high-paying job in the mines to become a personal trainer because you'll slowly start to recognize a need deep inside to make a positive difference in other people's lives. Once again, you'll succeed by being one of the best PTs, but you'll also feel utterly alone. And to make matters worse, you'll have no idea why, because you're the best at everything you do. This will be your rock bottom. You'll have no friends, but be friendly with everyone. This sense of utter aloneness will be revealed in a really scary way. You'll be out with all your gym buddies at a 21st party in a city bar one night. You'll start mixing your drinks because there's a bar tab with free booze and you're going to drink all of it. At some point in the night, you won't even remember when or how to this very day, you're going to pass out in one of the gardens beside the bar. You'll wake up hours later after the entire bar has closed, everyone's gone home. No one has looked after you. This is when you start to realize that you're not close enough to anyone for them to look out for you when you needed them most. Thankfully, in your aloneness, you don't do anything stupid. You didn't turn to drugs. In fact, you'll turn to the one thing that you know is there whenever you need it, and that's your faith. For the first time in years, you'll start going to Mass on Sundays. Sure, it'll be full of older people, but they're going to love you because you're there. You'll also be on the lookout for a nice Catholic girl. But let me warn you, your years of partying and playing up will distort your idea of what a wholesome relationship should be. You are not going to find a quick fix in your need for intimacy and connection in your life. In fact, you're going to find these things in a place you never imagined. You'll commit yourself to a parish down in Gold Coast called Sacred Heart and join the youth and young adults singing group. You'll feel embarrassed about this because you're desperate to belong. You'll be 30 years old, you can't sing, and you know that you need the group way more than the group needs you. But you'll slowly begin to realize that the group actually accepts you for who you are, not because you're a successful person, but because you're simply you. Around this time, your world will once again be rocked, but this time for a positive reason. Believe it or not, you're going to hear Jesus inviting you to discern becoming a priest. And even though it'll be scary saying yes to God, mostly because you're afraid that you'll achieve highly and once again feel empty, it'll be the greatest adventure of not only helping people, but discovering and experiencing an intimacy and connection with Jesus that you'd been chasing your entire life without even knowing it. I want to tell you about one of those times so that you'll be able to recognize them when they happen. You'll be out running around the Burley headland on a Sunday morning when you'll come across a young man fishing off the rocks. From a distance, you'll see that he's caught a large fish, and as you run closer, you'll know that he wants to ask you for help, but is not going to. You'll offer to help, and he'll ask you to climb down the rocks to land the fish. When you give it to him, he'll say thank you. And as you turn to continue your run, you're going to experience the most amazing sense of love and joy washing over you. Your only reaction will be to praise, thank, and glorify Jesus out loud, because you'll recognize that it's him and that he's real. Encountering Jesus' love, joy, and peace regularly, mostly when you choose to pray, is going to be the greatest adventure you could ever hope for, because you're also going to start recognizing these gifts in and with others as you give yourself emotionally in relationships with people in your life. Josh, if there were a couple of things I could share with you right now, it's that you'll always be competitive, but that you don't have to be the best in everything you do to be worthy of intimacy, love, and connection. You certainly won't find them in quick fixes. Your competitive streak will be one of your greatest gifts when you direct it for the Lord's purposes. Setting high standards for yourself can be a good thing, but don't let them get in the way of people who want to love you in the same way that Jesus loves you. Josh, you are not alone, because you are surrounded by people who love you. You are enough. You are worthy of love, and Jesus is real.
Thank you so much for sharing your letter to self with us. And Josh, if there's anything I know about you, is you are an incredibly authentic person and you share your gifts with us. And we love having you here, and you absolutely belong to this family. So thank you. How are we going? Yeah? Okay? Everyone okay? Give me a thumbs up. All right. Jess, I'd love you to share your letter.
Thank you. Guys, I have to warn you before I start, I am a chronic crier. And I have my tissue here ready. I've already used it once. Thank you, Father Josh. Yeah, we all came prepared with tissues. So if I cry, I'm good. I'm not crying because I'm sad about what's happened. I'm crying because I'm just so thankful to Jesus about what he's done in my life. All right. I haven't even said the first word yet. Dear younger Jess, there's no way you'd believe me if I said you were going to live through an earthquake and a global pandemic, go viral on social media, ugly cry over boys, try to be a nun, leave New Zealand, live in 8 different countries and states, minister in underground churches in the Middle East, almost get arrested a few times for telling people about Jesus. Woo! Fight for your life with anxiety, not woo, and still be single at 32. Definitely not woo. Considering your life plan currently involves getting married a bit later in life at the ripe old age of 22, this could be particularly horrific news. Honestly, hearing the part about Jesus probably sounds the strangest, since you haven't even heard of God yet. You'll meet him when your best friend Emily strategically invites you for a sleepover on a Saturday night to be dropped home after church the next morning. In church, you'll sing about something called Jesus, which could be a brand of shoes for all you know. And while you don't know what God is, you do know music. So you sing along about this Jesus, and mountains moving, so weird, and blood, no seriously, so weird. And for the first time in ages, you don't feel alone. You feel safe and loved, braver than normal, and happy. It's God. You go into Sunday school after, and the Sunday school teacher will get up and tell everyone about a person called Jesus. So he's not a brand of shoes. And when the teacher asks if anyone wants to also give their life to Jesus, you'll stick your hand up in the air because you know that what you experienced during worship was real. And from that day on, you'll know Jesus is your friend. I wish I could tell you that having Jesus as your friend will mean that you don't have any pain in your life after that, but that's not true. You'll go through some painful stuff still. But what I can tell you is that now you don't have to go through any of it alone. Jess, when you're 17, you'll scream for God to save you. As you're violently thrown several meters in every direction at nearly twice the force of gravity during a huge earthquake. The earthquake will destroy the entire city of Christchurch and kill nearly 200 people in the area you're in. After that first big earthquake, you'll run down the flight of stairs in your tilted over building as fast as you can in case it completely collapses while you're still inside it. Going outside will be like running into the middle of a war zone as you find the city in rubble around you. And the worst part is, it won't stop. Every 60 seconds there will be another earthquake and everything will be deafening. The sirens, the yelling, and the sound of more buildings collapsing. There will be no break, no peace, except you'll be weirdly calm in the middle of the storm. And baby, I can only tell you that some of it's shock, but most of it's Jesus in you. You'll survive this, and you will be traumatized. Not the cute traumatized, like the time that you fell off a fence in front of your crush. the kind of traumatized where you can't go into buildings anymore. But you'll never be abandoned or left to find a way to heal alone. It's impossible to miss your friend Jesus, even in the middle of the worst day of your life. You'll see him in the lady who lets you sit in her backyard until you can walk. And in the fact, you waited an extra 10 minutes to go to lunch so you weren't in the spot so many other people died in. It could only have been God who made your phone miraculously connect so you could call your mum to get rescued. And only God could have sent the kind strangers to find you in the middle of nowhere. Jess, this earthquake is going to make you ask the question everyone does at some point in their life. Is God really good? And that week, you will lock in your final answer, yes. On that day, when you think you're going to die and scream for God, He will be there. And one day, you're going to tell a room full of people about how you lived through an earthquake, which is honestly very specific, but someone else in the room with their own kind of trauma is going to realize that God has been with them this whole time too. Aside from living through an actual natural disaster, your dating life is also going to be a disaster. But girl, that's definitely on you and not an earthquake. You'll fit God into the 1 hour on a Sunday box until you're 21. The other 6 days a week, you'll make the attention and affirmation of boys your God. You'll feel like being loved by a guy will heal you, but it won't, because that's a God-shaped hole in your heart. You won't mean to, but you'll accidentally turn into that girl who's in a relationship cycle, dating someone and feeling great, and then breaking up and feeling broken. Then you'll start dating someone else new and feel healed, and then you'll break up and feel even worse than before. Eventually, after 4 years of this, you'll sit beside a sparkling blue lake in New Zealand after the worst breakup of your life and cry. And finally do what you've never done before. Ask God to heal your heart. One of the best choices you'll ever make is the one where you promise God you'll stay single, for reals this time, and give God as much time as it takes to heal you, instead of sticking another boy bandage on that God-shaped hole. Because it goes deeper than just boyfriends. You've got some big wounds from men to let God heal. And it will be so worth it. Because one day you'll get married. I'm not sure when, but I can tell you you'll be older than 32, lol. And it won't be because you're trying to get a man or a marriage to heal your pain. One day you'll get married out of love, not fear. But you're also going to fall in love with another man along the way. And his name is Jesus. You'll love him so much that when you're 25, you move to Australia and live with nuns for a year as a maybe baby nun and youth missionary. It's one of the best years of your life. You'll tell kids in schools and prisons and on islands about this Jesus that you know and give them the same hope you have. You'll drive through the desert and make sure Sister Therese doesn't get eaten by a crocodile and sleep under the stars, which might not sound like a big deal to you now, but trust me, by 25, you will hate camping. After that one time as teenagers, you pack down the family tent and you get into the car and Mum says, "Where's the keys?" And it turns out that your sister left the car keys inside the tent that's packed down in the back of your car. Enjoy camping while you still can. Halfway through that year, you'll have a panic attack for the first time without knowing what's happening. 1 minute you'll be fine, and the next you'll find yourself running out of the chapel and across a school field, unable to breathe or stop shaking. After that panic attack, you'll feel like your whole life you'd worked so hard to rebuild just got shaken to pieces again. Jess, if I could tell you something now that you'd hear back then, I wish I could tell you that shoving down all the pain in your life isn't a good plan, because eventually it'll all catch up with you anyway. You'll go from being an incredibly high-capacity person to struggling to walk through a supermarket, eat, or tell someone your name. Talking to people and traveling in vehicles will suddenly be really hard, which is unfortunate since you're literally a traveling missionary in a van. A counselor will tell you you've got severe anxiety, and the best you can hope for is to try and manage it for the rest of your life. But you know Jesus can do anything. So you refuse to let a diagnosis have the last word or become your identity. You get help lots of ways because God can heal in lots of ways. You'll go to a Christian counselor and pray and listen to hours of worship music and go for runs, and every time panic tries to choke you, you'll stare it dead in the eyes and tell it that the Prince of Peace is stronger. You fight hard for peace. And I'm really proud of you for that. You didn't have to fight, but you did. And hey, speaking from 10 years into the future, anxiety won't control your life forever. You'll even get your motorbike license. Sorry, Mum. Sorry, Dad. Yeah. Jess, Jesus is why you'll move to America to go to ministry college the following year, even though you vowed the two places you'll never live are Australia and America. He's why you'll go to bars every Friday night for 3 years to tell people about the hope they'll find in Jesus instead of the bottom of a bottle, and why you'll get thrown out. He's why you'll risk going to the Middle East over and over, and he's why you'll pray for really sick people in Mexico and see him heal them. Right now, as I'm writing this to you, you think your life will look like getting married at 22 and raising kids in New Zealand. It'll be a safe, familiar, planned out life. But God's plan has been so much better. Definitely wild, but so much better. Jess, if there's one thing I could tell you, it's this. The thing you'll most need in life is Jesus. You'll need him when you're heartbroken one day because he's the healer. You'll need him in the earthquake because he's the shepherd with you in the valley of death. You'll need him when you're feeling abandoned because he's your friend who will never leave you. You'll need him when you can't breathe from the anxiety choking you because he's the Prince of Peace. You'll need him when you don't know who you are because he's the one who made you and can tell you. And you'll need him when you're feeling broken because he's the Redeemer who died so your mistakes wouldn't have to define you. Jess, you don't get it now because you haven't met Jesus yet. But when you do, you'll understand why you turn into a 32-year-old woman who does the very thing you're most afraid of right now, speaking in front of thousands of people about a man called Jesus. And I think you'll like her.
I think I met earlier than 22-year-old Jess, and I think she would like her too. I just feel like I've witnessed from afar that healing journey, and just being with you through the last 2 Ignite conferences, I can see the peace, the wisdom, the healing, and this, you're even more of who you were created to be. And I'm so proud of you. So thank you.